Hey, welcome to episode 136 of Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. This episode is titled The People That You Meet When You're Walking Down the Street. It has to do with meeting somebody else in my neighborhood. As I walked early this past week on Tuesday, first day of school, met a lady named Jen. Who are the Jens and Eds and Bruces in your space that you run and cross paths with? Do you talk with? Do you pay attention to them? You should, because we've got a lot to offer each other in community. Okay, I have digressed, but not in a bad way, but it's time to get on with episode 136 of Fresh Air at 5. Here we go.
I'm Chris Nessie, host of Behind the Mic, Voices of the EPN, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. I'm your host, Brian Carpenter. Fresh Air at 5 is my regular attempt to exercise by walking about my neighborhood, to take in podcast content, then reflect in an unedited video, which I finally post to my Twitter channel. This podcast will be a regular collection of the audio from these selfie videos. You can follow me on Twitter at FreshAirAt5 or check out my website, briancarpenter.com, for other content I have created and collected.
Hey, PLN, September 5, 2023. Welcome to Tuesday, first day back to school, or first day of school. You know, why do we say back to school? I guess because we've had a break and we're going back because we're not done our learning or our education or something like that. But anyhow, it's the first day of school and I'm super excited to be able to head in to the office. And in my online blended learning space, students don't actually arrive in our building until next week for the face-to-face part, the fusion program part of my work that I do at AVS. But our online students are loaded into their classes and we will begin working with them right away. So today, as I head into the office, I've got marking and things to do. I've got messaging to do. I've got meetings on planning our first day of in-building students for next week. And I'm excited about that. All right. So this morning I listened to a bonus episode of Teaching Happier with Suzanne Daly as she brings us Let's Whoop It Up This School Year. And I read the title, and Suzanne, yes, I did chuckle, because I'm like, you know, I didn't have those songs or those crazy images that you talked about in my head, but I'm like, that's an interesting title. What's Suzanne going to talk about? Well, WHOOP stands for wish, opportunity, obstacle, and plan for overcoming the obstacle. No, not opportunity. Not the second one is not opportunity. It is the best possible outcome. So anyhow, this is an acronym about working with yourself and having a mindset to approach something that you wish to do, a small goal or something like that. And as I step into the school year, Suzanne talks about her WHOOP wish, and I'm going to talk about mine right now, that I wish to have better balance between what's going on at school and life and all those things. And an best outcome is that it'll all be settled and well. An obstacle would be that one would get out of sync, like choir or school or conference. Then the plan to overcome this is to attend to what I need to do to bring things back into balance. All right, this is longer than 2:20, so you're listening to this on the podcast, but not on the daily. All right, have a good day. Thanks, Suzanne. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. One more thing for September 5, 2023. My headphones just died. I don't have my headphones in. I don't know what happened, but my JBL headphones that I've been wearing for the past year just stopped working. I am not in a situation to sit down and figure out why, because I'm out walking and I'm listening to a podcast, but that's okay. I'll get home, figure it out, and if not, I'll go purchase another set of headphones if I can't figure out how to get them working so that I can carry on doing what I am doing. I have some more at home, a wired set. Might have to wear those for a while until the new ones come. All right, that being said, I listened to Season 4, Episode 2 of Mindset Monday with George Koros on Innovators Mindset Podcast. And George, thanks so much for continuing to do Mindset Monday. I appreciate your personal touch as you share from your heart things that are challenging and hard and how you're processing those things so that the people out here like me can do that and reflect as well. All right, in Season 4, Episode 2, you talk about resilience and bouncing forward. All right, there's a whole lot more than what I'm going to say in the next 30 to 45 seconds, but go take a listen to this episode because George has got some good content in there. The whole point of resilience is about looking at a hard situation and figuring out how to overcome that and moving forward. Not just getting back to the status quo, but to figure out what you're going to do to change that. So the traditional definition of resilience has to do with getting back to where you were. But it's not about that only. It's about bouncing forward. It's about what are you going to do to get through that, to make change so that that difficult situation, when you face it again, is improved. I've always said for many years, every obstacle is an opportunity waiting to happen. I don't know if I heard that somewhere, but when I was in the lab and we had challenging things, I would say that because I believed it. All right, thanks, George. Have a great day. Bye. The last thing for September 5, 2023, this morning walking, I ran into another colleague in the education here in Abbotsford, and she's an EA at a school. Her name's Jen, and so that was pretty nifty to connect with her. I've seen her walking in the mornings, her husky, and see her early in the morning. Haven't seen her all summer because our schedules have been, offset, but now that we're back to school today, I'm going to see her more often, and it was great. This morning, I actually was brave enough and went, "Hey, what's your name?" And we connected a little bit. So that was pretty nifty. Who are the people in your life that you cross paths with that you don't say hello to? Maybe you should say hello to some people. There's Ed and Bruce and now Jen in my morning walk that I run across on a regular basis that I need to keep talking to and encouraging. All right, on episode 70 of Evolving with Gratitude, Lainey talks with Bradley James Davies, who is a life coach and works with leaders to encourage them in their practice of being better leaders. And the episode title is An Anchor for a Point of Peace, to the point of peace. And Bradley has this acronym for peace that you need to take a listen to this episode to hear what it's all about. It is pretty nifty how we all have our different systems for being able to attend to ourselves and having systems for, writing gratitude notes to our colleagues and those that work with us and under us is so important. And I like that practice, Bradley. I think I'm going to go get a stack of cards and start working on that myself this year so that I can acknowledge those around me because they are important to me. Yes, having a spreadsheet to record those so you know who you have, connected with is important, but that's just one system. There's other ways of doing it. All right, Lainey. All right, Bradley. Have a great day. And all of you, have a fabulous day. Okay, Carpenter. Bye. Hey, PLN, it is September 7, 2023, out for fresh air at 5. Missed walking yesterday for a couple of reasons. We had an emergency at the beginning of the morning. I woke up to hearing breaking glass in my house, and I'm like, what is that? And we all got up at 4:45 in the morning to find out that a picture had fallen off the wall and hit the floor. the command strip. You know, you put those stickies on the wall with the plastic hook that attaches, and it's good for 5 pounds. But how long? We don't know. This picture didn't weigh 5 pounds, but eventually it failed. The hook plastic connection on the wall, and it fell down, broke the glass. And so there was, we got to clean that up. And then, you know, one thing leads to another, and I didn't get out for my walk. And went to school, had a great day at school, had a department meeting. We talked about a lot of things for 2 hours and got through a lot of great things, necessary things, but it was a long meeting and I was tired after that. Tired in the afternoon. Back to school is going well. I'm doing marking for my onliners, getting prepped for students to come back to the building next week, and activities for our first day of blended learning. So yes, that's what's going on. All right, speaking of back to school, I listened to episode 129 of the Che and Pav show as Che and Pav talk about their back to school routines and how it went this year. Fantastic to hear. We have a type A and a type B. I'm more of a type B, I think. Now that I listen to what Pav has to say, take a listen to what they have to say. How do they go about getting ready for their students? How do I get ready for my students? Kind of like what Pav is doing. And, you know, that's okay because I'll be ready when they show up, and that's next week. All right, with that, Che and Pav, it was great to hear from you. Pav, was fantastic to meet you this summer. And Che, we got to connect one day, bro. We'll talk sports analogies. I like F1, and we'll talk F1 and baseball analogies. All right, peace. Have a great day. Okay, bye. Last thing for September 7, 2023, I just listened to episode 222 of Bold Humility, which is the chapter 8 reading by Dave Schmittou as he reads us his book, Bold Humility, and the chapter title is Feed Me. It has to do with how we perceive ourselves, how we are perceived by others, and how the words that we say to our students can affect their trajectory and self-esteem and outlook. And, you know, Dave got cut from tryouts at the beginning of high school for basketball and didn't play varsity basketball, but eventually at one point got back on the basketball court. He tells that story. He talked about how do we get to know our people around us in our building, and as principals, how do we get to know our staff so that we can support them and understand them and see the diversity of learning levels in our staff. Great to hear. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. And I'm going to continue listening to Bold Humility. You should too. This is an opportunity for you to get some free professional development, an audio book that is not really an audio book because Dave is putting this out on his podcast that won't be there forever. But go take a listen to Lasting Learning podcast with Dave Schmittou, and you can listen to him read the chapters of his book. All right, thanks all. Have a great day. I'm going to. Okay, bye-bye. Hey, PLN, it's Friday, September 8, 2023, and I'm glad to say that it's early. Up in the sky over that way, we see Venus. Up over this way, we can see Orion, the constellations, and Orion rose in the summer to where it is now, that it's almost at mid-sky at 5 a.m. So Orion showed up in the sky likely in July, but because it was light so early and I wasn't up at that time, I never saw it. I was thinking about that this week when I started walking again early, and so there's a lot of things that you miss when you don't get up early. So this morning I listened to Got Tech, the podcast with Eric and Nick, and good morning, gentlemen. Hope you're doing well and surviving the beginning of the school year. Okay, this is uphill. Yeah, you guys brought us 10 ed tech resources to check out for the beginning of the school year, and I listened to this episode on episode 145 of your podcast, and it is very thorough and good. I like it. I like it a lot. You've got a lot of tools that have AI components to them. And in our world today, that wasn't the same world a year ago. It has changed a lot of things, and we need to be aware of these things, if not for our own understanding, but for the understanding of what students can possibly do. And yes, mixed feelings about this. I do myself, but I have to also be, well, how am I going to use this and leverage this? How can I teach students about the ethics of this thing called AI compared to don't teach them at all? All right, thanks guys. I like the idea about the music generator you talked about from, I think it was Beethoven. I like that, Beethoven, play on Beethoven, and how you can make your own music that you can use in your own podcast. All right, podcasting coming from my students this year. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye. Last thing for Friday, September 8, 2023. Wrapping up my walk, just showing back up at home now. I listened to episode 232. House of EdTech. I apologize, Chris, for not knowing the episode number. It's the one that just came out with Debbie Tannenbaum this past week. As you guys talk about sticky notes and her work that she's done as an EdTech coach. And good to hear, Debbie, that you are making some progress and, you know, you're speaking at ISTE and making a difference in our EdTech community. Thank you for being a pioneer in some places so that the teachers in the everyday can learn something quickly that you've taken some time to learn over a long time, that they can implement a little bit of these things in their spaces. All right, with that, I'm going to say have a great weekend. I'm going to get to work and get going on things. My shoulder is improving from my kayak injury, my rotator cuff. So I'm thankful for that, because in 2 weeks from now, I'm heading off on a fishing trip and need to be able to use my right arm for casting. So got to work on still some rehab for that. But we are almost there. Yes. All right. We'll talk to you later. Have a fabulous week. And thanks for listening to episode 136 of Fresh Air at 5. As my one word for 2021 is appreciate, I appreciate you giving me a listen as I've created this podcast experience for you. It's a unique Blinkist or Coles Notes version of the content I take in, like a highlight reel, so that you can hopefully find other interesting podcasts you may not have considered before. I've recorded the specific podcast episodes in the show notes for your learning convenience. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. And if you enjoyed this podcast and its format, share it with someone else. Tweet about your experience or give it a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. Fresh Air at 5 can also be found on Voice Ed Radio. Your voice is right here, and on the Education Podcast Network, podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. I hope you have a fantastic day and get some fresh air before the day is out, and take care of yourself, because you're worth it.